Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Dragon Quest V. It's time for our party to head to the Tower of Boble to try to recover the Dragon God's hidden powers. So, we're going in with a party of Bean, who will be putting to use his new armor, the Royal Cloak that just got in the Emblem Cave from the last episode. And Pippin, who will be putting to use his new Falcon Sword. And Barongo. Now, they don't have a lot of, well, they basically only one who has magic is Bean. Barongo has that charge up and the war cry abilities, but we're really going to be deficient on magic, so we're going to have to depend on some items here. If you don't want to buy items, you probably should take the sun with you, because this next dungeon has 2 bosses in it. And one of the bosses, the first one that we'll be going after that's harder, can use the numbing breath. And the only person who can remove numb without an item is your son. He's the only one who has the numb off spell, so in our case it's Cosmo. So just for safety though, I'm going to buy some full moon herbs, because they can remove the numb spell. So I'm going to give 2 to Bean, 2 to Pippin, 2 to Barongo. And then I'm also going to go and go back to Granvia and buy 3 Fido's Hair. You can use them as an item in battle to cast the By-Kill spell on yourself. So I'll actually be taking on the tougher of the 2 bosses this episode. I will hand Barongo the Staff of Benediction. He can use that to cast the Heal More spell in battle. Barongo's really fast. That's one thing he has going for him. So he's going to basically be our healer in this dungeon, which I guess is weird. He's the Killer Panther, but he's going to be functioning as our group's healer. So, and then Bean can do it outside of battle, but actually in battle, mainly using Barongo. So, with that Staff of Benediction. So like I said, we'll just go to Granvia. The other place we can get the Fido's Hair is Chizad, that mountain village. So it's much easier to go here to Granvia. It'll take 2 trips to go through this dungeon. I'm going to do the harder part of the trip first, which is taking on the harder boss. And it's one person we've already seen before, so actually both of the bosses are. Yeah, I'll be going in, like I said, a little bit of suboptimal party, but I'm doing that on purpose because this next dungeon, the characters who go in, you can't take the wagon in with you, so only the characters who go in will gain experience. And I want to have Barongo and Pippin gain some experience, because they've been kind of not really doing too much, not contributing too much for the party, so I want to give everybody a little bit of a use. Now I could warp right back to Zenithia, and it'll take me to the castle, but you can also just warp back to wherever you left Zenithia. So I left Zenithia at Santa Rosa, so I'm going to warp back there, hop in the Zenithian Castle, and I'm going to take off to the northwest. The Tower of Boble is in the southwest of the map. Even though when we first raised Zenithian Castle, the guy said head to the northeast. That's because from where Zenithian Castle was raised, that had that lake. If you head to the northeast, you reach the Tower of Boble. But we're in the kind of the north of the map, so we want to go northwest. So I just headed west first, and then went north. Could just head north from Santa Rosa, and then once you hit the Metal King Island, then you can just take west from there. I just went west first. Doesn't really matter, but you always have your map to look at if you need it. But here we are, we're in the island here. As you can see, it's surrounded entirely by mountains, so the only way to get here is the Zenithian Castle, because the magic carpet can't fly over the mountains, but we can land here in the desert, and then we can leave here. Step on out, and now interesting, even though this is like an end game level, the enemies outside here are really weak. They're like enemies from like the beginning of the game. But once we actually get inside, though, it'll be much more difficult. So we want to have at least like a few spaces of inventory. Alright, yeah, see, horned rabbits. Got them from a long, long time ago. I think they were actually in the first dungeon when Bean was just a little kid. Take them out. And we're going to head on in. Now, the tower, we're going to have to use the grappling hook that old man in Zenithian Castle gave us. Because if we try to open the door right here, it's locked from the inside. Luckily, though, when we go down this tower from the top, we'll eventually get to the bottom floor and we'll be able to open that door, and the door will remain open. So we'll be taking 2 trips through this tower. First time we're going through, we're going to take out the tougher boss, and then we'll escape through that door, save our game, and then come back and finish the tower off. So whenever you see one of these little hooks, that's where we use the grappling hook. And we slide on down. Luckily we can unwrap the grappling hook so we can use it later. We're going to have to use it much later. Now this, the 2 bosses we're going to fight in here, each of them guards one of these dragon eyes. So the tower is basically made up of like 3 sections. There's the inside of the tower here. Then there's the basement underneath the tower. That's where we're going to find the 2 bosses to recover the dragon eyes. And there's going to be this big, huge dragon statue. Once you put the eyes in the statue, it's going to open up a new section of the tower. And that's where we're going to find the dragon god's powers hidden away. Here's our first new enemy here, the snake hand. Take him out. Take them out. I'll just use some medical herbs just because we want to have some inventory space. There's not a lot of treasure in this area, but you don't want to pass any of it up, so let's head on down. Here's our first treasure here. We get a small medal. There's not enough small medals left in the game to get anything really good at the Metal King. Probably the best thing to get right now would be the Mystic Armor for 21. But we're never going to get 21 small medals just from treasure chests. We can farm small medals though from those jelly men that were in several dungeons actually. A good one was and they were in the Sky Tower toward the top of the floor. That's the tower where we got the magma staff to open the cave to the Zenithian Castle. So they're there. So if you want, if you want to get everything at the King Metal, you're definitely gonna have to go out and start farming them from the Jellymen. So, but like I said, we've only combat pajamas for 5, mysterious bolero for 10. You know, they're outclassed right now. The mystic armor is pretty good because it basically restores some hit points between each round of battle. So some with the mystic armor and the miracle sword, they can basically heal themselves. So this nun though, she won't be able to be healed. She passes away, but not before telling us that 2 evil monsters are in here and we should flee to avoid them. Spoiler, those 2 monsters are the remaining 3 henchmen of the big bad, the Demon King, who we met at the end of Generation 1. We met Jami, the Horseman, then there was Gauntz, the Rhino Man, and then there was Gemma, the Wizard. We defeated Jami at the end of Generation 2. He was in that tower, turned Bianca and Bean into stone. Well, now we're going to get a revenge on the other 2. Gemma the Wizard is the more difficult of the 2, but like I said, if you a good party to use against him would be, Bean, the son Cosmo, and the daughter. The son is good because he has the numb off spell. We'd keep him with the Elven Amulet, which helps reduce negative status effects from happening. And then he can cast numb off on anyone who gets hit by the numb spell. And then he can also cast increase to increase defense, and then the daughter would buy kill and decrease Gemma. Won't be able to buy kill or decrease Gemma with this party, but we'll be able to buy kill with the fire's hair. And increase isn't that important. Gemma being a wizard, he's mainly going to use like breath attacks and magic. But if you're really worried about your defense, you can always have beam cast upper. Upper is twice as effective as increase, but it only affects one character. So in order to get the benefit of increase, which you'd have to cast twice, you basically cast upper 3 times, so it'll take an extra turn for beam. But you could still, if you're really worried, just take extra time to buff everyone up. But I'm going to focus more on the offensive of taking out Gemma. This is why I got that fighter's hair. You see, Barongo is pretty fast. Occasionally Bean will beat him out, but for the most part, Barongo tends to always go first, so that's why I gave Barongo the Staff of Benediction. He defeated the Grendel there. That Gaunt's enemy, that boss, is basically a palette swap of that Grendel enemy. So now we're heading into the basement of the tower. We have all new encounter types here. Dragons. Going to be a very popular monster in the future. So the black dragons and the metal dragons, we can't recruit them. There'll be a great dragon in the demon wall that we can recruit. It's a pretty good monster. The metal dragon here is also a good monster, I guess, to fight to potentially farm the king metal armor. It's the strongest armor in the game. We'll get one in the bonus dungeon naturally, but if you want more, the only way to get more is to farm them off of these metal dragons. It has the best pure defensive power of any armor, but it doesn't lack the special abilities like Zenithian armor, the royal cloak, the princess robe, that Bean, the son, and the daughter have, where it reduces spell and breath damage. So it may actually not be the best armor overall. Now it's good against like physical attacks, but toward the end here you're going to see a lot of enemies going to be using like spells and breath attacks. You just saw how useful Bean's royal cloak was there. The dragon cast some breath attack and didn't take any damage off of Bean. So yeah, some of those extra properties that you get from armor is better than just the pure defense. Barongo being a very good healer, even though he is a killer panther. But he's quick, so he'll eventually get a thunder attack, a hit all attack, but he's mainly just a pure physical attacker right now, just like Pippin. But Pippin's pretty good with that Falcon Sword. The best thing about Pippin with the Falcon Sword is he's good against like metal enemies because he gets to attack twice, and both of those attacks have a chance to be critical hits. So he's actually going to be pretty good against like some bosses as well. We'll get a few lucky hits on Gemma where he will critical hit with both his strikes. Falcon Sword has a little bit of a low attack power, but being able to attack twice makes up for that lower attack power. And Pippin's good to use that because he's pretty strong. He gains a lot of strength, so he actually naturally maxes out the strength score. So to get to Gemma, the first boss, you have to basically go down the staircase, then head back up that staircase, and then when you appear on the top of the staircase, you can head north here to this area. Now Gaunt's is to the south. If you would went south from the staircase we came down here, that's how we would find him. But here's Gemma. Ho ho, I was waiting for you to fall willingly in my trap. Do I look familiar to you, perhaps? Doesn't matter what you answer here, he just says the same thing, that it's not the time for remembrance. And he regrets that he didn't kill us back when he burned Papas. But he promises he's going to not make that same mistake. But sadly, he will make that same mistake because we're going to take him out. So first round, we're going to have everybody use their Fido's hair. That'll cast the by-kill spell on everyone. And then we'll just go to town working on taking down his hit points. I have Bean with the Elven Amulet. It doesn't matter who you give it to though right now, because Bean doesn't have the numb off. But if you have your son with you who has the numb off spell, you definitely want to give it to him, because the Elven Amulet helps reduce the chance of negative status effects taking place. As you can see, Gemma casts that Numbing Breath, which is his most dangerous move, because even though it doesn't do any damage to you, it effectively removes a character from battle when they're numbed. Now, numb normally wears off on its own on the overworld after you take a few steps, but in battle, there's no way for numb to be removed unless you're using the numb off spell or one of these full moon herbs. So that's why I got everyone 2 full moon herbs, so they can help remove the numb. If everybody is numbed in the battle, it's an automatic game over. So that's why I said it can be very dangerous if you have no way to remove the numbness. So there, Bean actually became numb, even though he has that Elven Amulet. That's okay, because we have, like I said, other people with the full moon herbs to use. So we don't want to have Pippin use both his full moon herbs. Have everyone try to use them equally. And then between rounds, we'll have Barongo, if he's not healing, use his charge up skill. It costs him this round in battle, but he'll do more than 2 times the damage in his next when he next attacks. So it actually pays to use that build-up skill. Now, Gemma, even though he's a wizard, and normally wizards are, squishy. There's the squishy wizard and the strong fighter type. Actually, Gemma has much more hit points than almost 3 times as much as Gaunt's. So, Gaunt's is the much easier of the enemies. We don't have to do any much preparation for him. We can just head in just normally, because all Gaunt's does is physical attacks. You don't have to worry about like status effects like numb. So, like I said, we'll take him out in the next episode. Yeah, it's never. The good thing is when we open that door on the first floor, it'll always stay open, so we can retreat from here, go back to Zenithian Castle, save our game, and then we can come back here and finish the dungeon off, and we don't have to do the whole dungeon anymore. We can just start right from the bottom. And Gaunt's also getting to him is a little bit quicker than getting to Gemma. So the next section where we have to get the dragon's left eye will be much, much quicker. It'll allow us to basically finish the dungeon entirely in the next episode. But we've still got a little bit of time here, so we're going to clear out just a little bit more of the dungeon here. We're going to go down and grab this treasure. Now the only treasure we have left to grab in our next encounter is treasure on the way up the tower. We saw we fell down the tower. We skipped a few floors. There was that one place where we could have used the grappling hook. We have to use that grappling hook once you have the 2 eyes to get down to where the statue is, to put the eyes on the statue. And then that'll create a way forward. We could have just, instead of falling, we could have just walked our way down the statue and would have gotten some more treasure. But we're going to have to climb up that way anyway once we get the eyes. So it just saves time to skip all that climbing. You're not going to miss the treasure because we're going to get it when we climb back up anyway. So, as I said, there's 2 more treasure chests that we have to pick up. And then there's in the tower, and then there's the dragon orb that we have to pick up, and a special staff for Bean. So yeah, I just went to that passageway. It was an empty passageway. It's a dead end. But if we went south there, that would have taken us to the staircase to where we get to Gon's, the Rhino enemy, the last of those henchmen who killed Papas. We'll finally get our revenge on all of them. But as you saw with Gemma, when he was defeated, he said, "Glory to the High Priest." So it was actually somebody else besides the Demon King who is in, I guess, the hierarchy of evil leadership. High priest. No prize for guessing that he's going to be in that temple that we were building at the beginning of Generation 2. And speaking of the beginning of Generation 2, here is the nunnery. I just warped to here. I could have warped anywhere where there was an inn. Probably would have been better, I guess, to go to Ned's Inn, but I don't know why. I'm just being cheap. I figured I would just go here because it's free. So I'll heal myself up here for free. I'll just use a little bit of MP to return to Zenithia. And whenever you cast the return to Zenithia, we get right back to where Zenithian Castle is, right to the flying room. The good thing about Zenithia is it has a church. We didn't use it, but now we're going to use it here. Good place to save our game because why not? You know, it's right next to the dungeon that we're going to have to make our second trip to. So now, because Gaunt's doesn't have those numbing ability, I'm just going to transfer these full moon herbs that I have from the characters who didn't use them, Pippin and Bean and Brongo, just to keep them for future use. But for right now, just clear up some of this inventory, because like I said, we have some treasure that we still have to pick up in the tower. So let's drop that treasure off, give it to Slaylin. That way we don't put it in like the dispository. And then we'll save our game here, and then we'll come back in our next episode to finish off that tower, get the left dragon eye, and then open up the dragon statue and head on in and see if we can find that dragon god's power. Take care, have a good one. Thanks for following along. Have a good day. Bye.